Well, so if you've always wanted to be an MC or you need to be an MC for this event that you are going to be hosting, I'm going to share with you in this video what it takes to be a great MC. Here we go! So tip number one is to prepare an effective MC opening. Have you heard the term first impression counts? Now likewise for MC, when you first go up on stage, first impression is actually very important. How you dress, how you present yourself. Right, so for an MC, it is very, very important to prepare for an effective MC opening. Now tip number two is to bring on stage positive and energetic vibes. So it is important for an MC to always bring energy, bring positivity on stage because nobody wants to see an MC who is negative. Now let me give you an example of a not so energetic MC. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome to this event today. Very excited to have all of you here with us. Hello everybody once again. Our speaker is ABC. Now he's the general manager of X company. So please join me to welcome him on stage, please. So that's an example of a low energy MC. Alright, and not very positive as well. Let me give you a positive example. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon. Welcome. Now, our next speaker is Mr. ABC. He is the general manager of X company. He has more than 30 years of experience in the industry, and I'm sure he's going to be sharing his expertise with all of you, and I'm sure all of us will be learning something new today. Please join me to give him a big round of applause, please. So can you tell the difference? Well, our next tip is the MC sets the tone for the entire event. Well, so it is important for an MC to set the tone for the entire event because the MC is the one who pushes forward the agenda, the program for the entire event. So the MC is the one who sets the tone right. It's all encompassing your language, your behavior on stage, how you push things along, how you wrap up the previous segment and link to the next segment. So it is important for the MC to really set the tone for how the event should and will be. Well, the next tip is control the timing of the proceeding. Well, if you work with a professional events manager, usually the stage manager will be the one who cues all the different timings, but sometimes there just isn't such a person to do it for you. So you as an MC, you have to be the one who controls the timing of the entire event. Now an example is this, you have a 1 hour event, you have two speakers, now they each will speak for 25 minutes. So that leaves 10 minutes for your opening, wrapping up with the first speaker, introducing the second speaker and wrapping up the second speaker before wrapping up the entire event. Now imagine your first speaker speaks for 45 minutes. That leaves you just 15 minutes for the second speaker and all you're wrapping up for the entire event. So it is important for the MC to control the flow of events, be in touch with the organizers of the event. So if you have some buffer time or you can extend the timing of the event, control the timing well. Now the next tip is always introduce the speaker's bio. So this is very important. Imagine you're sitting down, you are wondering who's coming up next. The MC introduces Mr. ABC from X company. He's going to be speaking about topic Y. That's it. Now imagine if he introduces Mr. ABC, he or she is the leader in his or her field, many years of experience, thought leader. Now you'll be more engaged, you'll be more interested to listen. So it is important for an MC to always introduce the speaker's bio. Now the next tip is remember to introduce yourself as the MC. Now many people don't usually do this or sometimes people forget, but it's always important to introduce yourself as the MC for the event. Why? Because you are on stage, you are controlling the entire proceedings of the entire event, you're facilitating the flow. So it is important for the audience to get to know you, to like you, so they will have a more positive image of the event. But the next tip is always be projecting your voice. So I'm projecting my voice now so you can hear me very clearly. Now imagine if I don't project my voice, this is how I'm going to sound. And the last thing you want people to remember you at an event is an MC who mumbles and talks to yourself. Alright, so always be projecting your voice forward, so that projects confidence as well and your audience will be more engaged with you throughout the entire event. Well, our next tip is to always maintain eye contact with your audience. So it is always important to maintain eye contact with your audience because this seems like you are engaging all of them. Now, if there are a lot of people, of course, be sure to look at all of them. Now, one rule I like to follow is I like to do the Z. So I look up and then I look across, I look down and then I look to the right. So this looks like you are engaging the entire audience. Now, sometimes you have a script to follow as well. So it is important to always look up from your script after a few words just to look like you are maintaining eye contact with your audience. Now let me show you how it should be done. Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to this event brought to you by ABC Company. ABC Company is a market leader in tools and electronics for the past 30 years, and we're very honored to, of course, have all of you here with us today. Thank you very much for being here. Now, if you compare it to somebody who reads from the script and does not look up at all. Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to ABC Company's event. ABC is a market leader in tools, and we're very happy to have all of you here with us today. Today, we are going to be talking about electronics. And of course, I hope some of you will be... So you can see how different it is. So it is important for an MC to always look up, to engage with the audience. Now, a simple act of looking at your audience can play a huge difference in how the MC carries himself or herself throughout the entire event. Well, the next tip is to bring pace to your delivery. Now, there are times where you have to be slow and precise, where there are times where you have to be faster and more energetic. Let me give an example. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me to welcome our guest of honor, Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong. So you can see he's slow, steady, and composed, as compared to something a bit more fun, like a party. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, come on, join me on stage. Come on, the first 5 people up on stage. You're gonna have some fun together with me. So you can tell I'm talking a lot faster in the party segment than in the formal segment. So it depends on the type of event, the type of proceeding that you are hosting. So remember, bring a suitable pace to your delivery. But the next tip is to share key event information. Well, as an audience, you want to know what's happening. Now, you may already have the program, but it's good to hear it once again. It's good for the MC to just, repeat the agenda for the entire day and to share key highlights and information for the entire event. Now, organizers also like to remind audience to switch their mobile and other electronic devices to the silent mode. So, things like that. You may also want to share where the restrooms are. In the event, the restrooms are hard to locate. So my next tip is to breathe steadily and deeply. Well, if you're breathing fast and shallow, now this will indicate that you are actually a bit nervous on stage and your audience can actually feel it. So a tip for you will be to take a few deep breaths before you go on stage, because when you take a few deep breaths, oxygen flows through your body, your brain gets more oxygen, and you think faster on your feet. But of course, don't do a deep breath when you're on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, so this will indicate you are very nervous. Okay, so take a few deep breaths before you go on stage, and once you go on stage, breathe steadily throughout the entire time that you are delivering your address. So the next tip is to avoid spicy foods and cold drinks before and during your time on stage. So this is a rule that I live by religiously because I use my voice a lot for a living. So it is important not to drink anything cold because this constricts your vocal cords and your voice may not sound as pleasant. Now also avoid spicy food because, as you know, spice, it harms the vocal cords. So when I'm going to be working, for example, tomorrow, I make sure that today I do not eat any spicy food, and tomorrow as well, I actually do not eat spicy food. In fact, because I use my voice so much, I hardly take any form of spice. Now, cold drinks are especially harmful to the throat as well. So it is important for you to avoid cold drinks, especially just when you are going up on stage because it may constrict your voice. Now, other types of foods that may constrict your voice includes dairy products like milk, caffeine, and alcohol. But the next tip is practice, practice, practice. Well, I'm sure you heard the term before, practice makes perfect. Same for an event as well. When I started out as an MC, I studied the entire script religiously. I needed to know what was going to be happening after this segment. I needed to know what was happening before the segment. This is especially important because if you're unfamiliar with the entire flow of the event, and if something goes wrong, you're at a loss. You don't know what's happening next. So it is important for you to practice words that sometimes you find very difficult to pronounce as well. So sometimes what I like to do is at home, I just take a script, I stand up and I project my voice, I practice to an empty room. So this will train your confidence. This will also help you familiarize yourself with the script that you are going to be delivering. So the next tip is to smile, even if you don't mean it. So it's important to always be smiling on stage because the audience wants to see somebody who's happy and jovial and not somebody who's absolutely sad and angry all the time. Alright, so imagine if I deliver like that, it's a very fierce face. as compared to if I deliver like this. Hello everybody, welcome ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. We got a lot happening for you today. Well, the next tip is to dress the part. So depending on the type of event that you are hosting, you got to play the right role as an MC. Now, if you're hosting something formal, you need to be wearing a suit and a tie. If you're hosting something a bit more fun, you can be wearing something that fits the theme of the event, like a costume or something a bit more casual. So, as an MC, you should always dress the part. Well, the next tip is to always be prepared for any eventuality on stage. So sometimes, shit happens. Murphy's Law. Whatever that can go wrong will go wrong. So as an MC, it is very important to recover. Now, for example, after you have introduced the speaker comes up on stage, but for some reason, the video doesn't play. The speaker is at a loss, the audience is at a loss, they're all looking at each other wondering what's happening. The speaker is not talking, lots of dead air. Now, as an MC, it is your role now to step in and recover that dead air. Remember, dead air for an MC is a big no-no. So for example, in that situation, what I like to do is I like to bring the speaker to the middle of the stage. I'll start a small banter with the speaker just to recover the dead air, because remember, dead air is a big no-no for an MC. So you can talk to the speaker, how many years of experience he or she has in the industry, what made him or her join the industry, what our audience is going to be learning today through his presentation. So things like that. As long as you recover the dead air. Make it look natural. Make it look like something is always going on stage, even though hell is happening behind. But as an MC, it is your role to make sure that you are prepared for any eventuality. Now, the next tip is to apologize should a major mistake happen. I'm sure all of you remember the worst mistake when Steve Harvey announced the wrong Miss Universe winner. He came out, he said, I have to apologize. So that's a major mistake, you apologize and you move on. Now, what happens if you make a small mistake, for example, like reading some words wrongly? Now, my advice is just to skip it, because in the grand scheme of the entire event, the audience won't even remember that you said a few words wrongly. Well, my next tip is to always arrive early to do a sound check and to ensure that everything is in order. Well, it is very important to always arrive to do a sound check, because you need to like how you sound. And most professional sound systems, you're able to do an EQ. So that means that you're able to adjust your highs, your mids and your lows. Make sure that you like your voice before going on stage. So it is important to arrive early to do a sound check, because why? If the audience is already in the house, you will not have the opportunity for a sound check. So when you arrive early, you get the feel of the venue itself as well, so you feel more confident when you are delivering on stage. Well, the next tip is to prepare for an effective closing. Well, just like the opening, now you have to prepare for an effective closing. So what should you have in your effective closing? Firstly, thank the audience for being a great audience. Recap the proceedings for the day. Re-emphasize any key points that was mentioned throughout the entire event. Remind the audience of any key announcements. For example, where they can redeem their parking coupons, or how they can be in touch with sales staff from the company that organized the event. So there you have it. Some tips on how you can be a great MC. Now, if you want to further dive into being a great MC, now I have written an ebook that shares my entire experience. It's a step-by-step guide to how you can be a great MC. If you are interested in that ebook, it is found in the link below. Alright, the most important thing is to have fun. Whenever I go on stage, I have lots of fun. Alright, so it's important for you to remember to have lots and lots of fun, so your positive energy will rub off on them and everyone will have a great time. Rock on, everybody.